Hello everybody, welcome to linuxhint.com YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to talk about the interview questions that a software developer could be asked. Okay, so these are the 7 most general and important questions that a software developer could be asked in any of the interview. So the idea is that there are going to be 3 phases of the interview. The first phase, most probably they're going to ask about you. What you do and what is your experience, what are some tools that you're familiar with. And in the second phase, they are going to ask you about very technical questions, okay? And in the third phase, basically, as a software developer, you could ask the interviewer a few of the questions about the company or about your job, or whatever you want to ask, okay? So these are the 3 general phases that you're gonna go through if you're going for a software developer interview. Okay. So the thing is that software developers are in high demand, and software developers, including full stack Python developers, Java developers, JavaScript developers, are among the most in demand tech jobs of 2019. Okay, so these are the most in demand developers jobs. So with so many companies actively seeking developers to hire, those in the field must know how to prepare for an interview. Okay, so that's how you can land in the right job, with the maximum perks. Okay, so without further ado, let's start. But before that, I would like to discuss that in general, when preparing for an interview as a software developer, you should try and get an understanding of the languages and technical tasks of the company they are interviewing with. Okay, so for example, if knowledge of C# or Java or Python is in the job description, then there is a high likelihood that the organization is it works on C#, or it works on Python, or it works on Java, and obviously they need a developer that they're gonna hire the developer that is most familiar with those languages or with the required job description, right? So what you have to do is that you have to read over the job description thoroughly for any clues into the technical skills to prepare for. And if you are working with a recruiter, they can also ask them for any insight into the technical stack of the organization. Okay, so without further ado, let's start. So the first question that you could be asked, that what kind of development are you currently doing? Okay, so the idea is that companies are looking for candidates or the software developers who can clearly outline the set of applications and technology stack they have worked with. Okay, so the idea is that you should showcase your understanding for how your role fits into the bigger picture and helps the company grow. Okay, so you have to tell them that what kind of development that you are doing. And obviously there are multiple software developers out there, so you are going to have your own development sort of thing. So that's what you have to explain here. Okay, so in this question, so there is no hard and fast or fixed sort of answer to this question, because the answer to this question is gonna vary on your development. Okay, so the next question, which is question number 2, the interviewer could ask you, talk about a tough software development problem and how you solved it. So this question is to assess your experience, and it is actually to look at the approach that you take in order to solve a problem. Okay, so basically, if you've been asked this question, this is a very good opportunity for you to dig deep into a software development problem that you have faced in the past and how you actually have solved it. Okay, so you have to show your collaboration and everything which has actually made the project successful. And obviously all the development involves team, so you need to show that how you actually worked in a team to get that project done. Okay, so just explain everything that you can in as much detail as you can when you've been asked this question, because this is like a lucky question for you if you get it. Okay, let's move on to question number 3. Why did you want to be a software developer? So you can actually add here your own reasons. There could be certain reasons why you want to be a software developer, right? So the common answers that people usually give on this kind of question is, oh, because I love programming. And somebody, they quote Steve Jobs' quote that um, programming teaches you how to think. So some people actually refer to that quote as well when they are being asked this question. So a real developer, that would be, I think, that would be passionate about the work, the code, and he would have deep focus on the ongoing projects. So if someone is being a developer just because they are paid high, then it's better to ignore him. That's what the interviewer is, they might be thinking, or they might have that in their mind. So make sure that you give an answer like, if you, in case if you don't have any answer in your mind, then give an answer like, I love coding, I love programming, and because Steve Jobs said that programming teaches you how to think, so that's why I want to be consistently involved in programming. And because this is the way to think, it would teach me, it would keep me engaged, and it would teach me how to think. So let's move on to the next question, which is question number 4. Could you describe the software development process? So the idea is that I'm going to basically I'm going to stay as general as possible here. But if you are doing some sort of specific kind of software development, then you can be specific to that type of development as well. So you can add some of those things here as well. So the idea is that software development process is like a life cycle of particular software. So if the developer would answer and describe the process accurately, that means that the developer has acquainted with the cycle. He knows it very well, and that's why the interviewer is going to ask this question. So then you're gonna say that the process, basically the development process is composed of the activities, a few of the activities, in which you have requirement analysis, requirement specification, and obviously requirement gathering, requirement requirement engineering. These are the phases of the requirement engineering. And it could have software architecture, implementation, testing, documentation, training, maintenance, things like that. So these are the activities that are involved in the software development process. So let me just quickly write them down here for you. So I would just quickly write it here. So number 1, I would say requirement analysis. Number 2, I would say requirement gathering, it could be, or it could be requirement specification. And then you can say software architecture. Software architecture. And the 4th activity would be implementation. And the 5th activity would be it would be testing. The 6th one, testing, is actually finding bugs in your software. So once you have implemented it, then you can basically find bugs and errors in your code. Then you have documentation. Documentation. And then you have the 7th activity as support. And then you have the 8th activity as maintenance. So these are the 8 activities involved in software development process. And yeah, that's enough. You can answer it. And if you are doing something else, like if you're doing some specific activities in detail, and if you want to explain them in detail, you can also do that. Okay, so that's no problem. Okay, so let's move on to the question number 5, which is what is the difference between computer software and computer program? So obviously, if you're a software developer, you know the answer to this question. It's very simple. That a computer program is a portion of programming code which executes a well-defined task. Uh, while if you talk about software, it includes programming code, it includes the documentation, and it also has the user guide. While in the case of computer program, you don't have any such thing. Okay, so that was the basic difference and the main difference between computer software and computer program. Okay, so question number 6. What is your process to test and find bugs in an application? So the idea is that every software developer is going to have their own process and favorite debugging tools. So what you are going to do is that you're going to just talk about the ones that you like. Okay, so you're going to highlight them and you're going to make them notice that how much you're invested in writing the code, and not in just code but writing a great code, and that you make sure that debugging is the part of the process and you do that. Okay, without debugging, you don't just write code and just throw it off to the tester. Okay, you just do your own testing as well. Okay, so yeah, that's question number 6. So now let's move on to the last but not the least question, which you could be asked, that what are your career aspirations? So the answer to that question would be according to your own gut. Okay, so what it is that you want out of your career, okay, and where you want to go, that's what you're gonna tell here. Okay, so this is basically, I think, if you have been asked this question, then you're, first of all, you're lucky, and this is a chance for you as a developer to be honest and reflect on what you are looking for in your career. Okay, it's not just about money. You have to be specific. It has to be something meaningful. Okay, so you have to give a meaningful answer here, because this is the opportunity for you to tell your employer that what exactly it is that you're looking for and how he can help you get there. Okay, or get that specific thing. So if you want to move into the management, but the organization you're interviewing is looking for someone to be an individual contributor and isn't focused on developing someone into management, it's better to know that early on instead of waiting to find that out after starting a job, right? So that's really crucial, and be honest when you've been asked this question. And last but not least, I would add a bonus question here, and that question that you could be asked is that they're gonna do a little coding test as well. Okay, so just let me just write here, coding test. Okay, this is question number 8, you can say. So it's not like that you're gonna be a developer, software developer, and they won't take a coding test. Okay, so they would absolutely take a small coding test. It could be small, it could be large, it depends on the organization that you're going to work for, but there is definitely going to be a coding test if you're going as a software developer. Okay, so yeah, that's it from today's video. I hope you have enjoyed it, you have learned something new. The questions were general, and obviously each question, you're gonna give your own answer. Okay, it is very difficult to be specific in these kind of questions. So obviously the purpose of this video was to let you know about these questions and to inform you in advance that you could prepare for these questions. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this video, you have learned something new. For written articles, you can always visit our website linuxin.com. Thank you so much for watching.